Yes, indeed.
Hey there, people. Howie here. It's the 23rd of January, and not to go into too much personal detail, but I had a rough sleeping night last night. So after I sent the kids to school, I had a nice big power nap because I probably got about 3 hours sleep, and slept until a good solid 1 o'clock this afternoon. So I saw none of the open market stuff. Looks like it's been a fairly flat, a little bit down market for the Canadian TSX. And I'm just trying to get into this one trade. Um, it's APH again. I think I traded it yesterday at least once. And 821 is my limit purchase. It's sitting at, the buys are at 822 right now. It's been, I wouldn't say flat, but it's been sort of maintaining for about an hour and a half. It's sort of maintained the space between 824 and 829, and it's just now sort of teetering down. And you can see there's a couple low of days here just below 820. So if I can get in 821, I'm also trying a feature I don't use that often, which is a three-tiered order that TD Direct Invest offers, and it's called one triggers, one cancels another, I think, or I don't know the exact name for it, but essentially what you can do is put in your limit buy order or your market buy order, and as soon as that is triggered, as soon as that happens, it creates a one cancels another order. So essentially what I've done is I put a limit buy at 821, and then once that triggers, it'll immediately put a stop market at 809 and a limit sell at 844. I hope that makes sense. So it's essentially three. As soon as you buy the stock, you already have your stop loss in place and you already have your sell in place. So I think it's for fast moving stocks, which this one is not. It would be an interesting thing to use. You could also set the first buy at market, so it would immediately buy, and then it would sort of implement those two additional trades. So I'm not sure that we're going to fill here. It's just over an hour left in the market. We're up to 823 again. So we're just going to sort of have to wait and see what's going on. So we've, excuse me, we've dipped down a couple of times into the 821. We've got partially filled of 2,600 out of the 10,000 shares. So if it moves up significantly, like 3 or 4 cents, then I will just finish the trade at 2,600 shares, as opposed to trying to wait potentially who knows how long, if it does go up, for it to trace back down to finish the order. And you can see now we've pulled into 823, so we're 2 cents from our fill. So I'll give it another, I don't know, say 10 minutes, unless it bumps up another couple cents. Like if it breaks through 825 and starts trading 826, 827, well, then I'm just going to go ahead and collect my partially filled order and then update the sell on it. So we'll just have to wait and see. But as of right now, I own 2,600 shares at 821. That's what the current status is. All right, so we just crested 826 for a moment at least. See if that's short-lived. 25 is building up. So now that we're like 4 cents away, almost 5 cents away from our entry, I'm going to just take the 2,600 shares and sell them. Okay, I just submitted the order at 826. I possibly should have sold it on market because I only filled 800 out of the 2,600. And we'll see. I just don't want to drop down a couple more cents, then I'm sort of floating in this weird no man's land. All right, so we filled at 826. So while it wasn't the full amount that we wanted, which was 10,000 shares. Oh, I've updated this. Hang on. It did move in the way that we wanted to. And we, I don't know, maybe it made like $100. So we were in at 821 and we filled 2,600 shares and we sold at 826, 2,600 shares. So a not that impressive but not terrible $130 after fees, $116. Whoops. That's that. Again, if you look at this graph here, this 821 is when we got in. So right at the bottom of this, I don't know, what is that? These are 5-minute candles, so that's about from we'll say 2:10 to 3 o'clock, just before 3, 45-minute downswing, and we entered here and we sold here. Unfortunately, we're only able to secure about a quarter of our trade, so it was why I was a little bit more tight on this sell, but we got in, we got out, made $100. Just with a jump in another trade. At least try to. Just a smaller trade. This is, I didn't do the full amount that I usually do, but it's TRST, which is right here. Let's get the chart out. It's not a very big moving stock, but what I like is this is a 1 day, go back to a 2 day. So this is sort of the start of today. Midday it sold off quite a bit, down to 867 as a low. It's rebounded a bit to 888, and now a pretty decent sell-off down to 873 right now. So I'm just attempting to buy 5,000 shares at 871 with a tight stop at 864, which would be below the low a day by a few cents at least. And I just put my sell high. I'm not sure the sell once I trigger. If I trigger, I can determine the other side, which might be like 879. I don't know, not that much. Just being that it's 50 minutes from close and This isn't the biggest volume stock. You know, it's averaging, maybe trading 5,000 shares a minute. So we'll see. It's sitting at 872 right now. Switches to 5 minutes, so it's not so messy. So we'll see if we fill at 871. I would always limit this purchase because there's just not a lot of volume selling. Like if I were to buy this moment, even 5,000 shares, it would spread me all the way up from 874 to probably 878. So I'd probably have an average purchase of 876. Because there's 500 at 874 for sale, there's 600 at 875 for sale, there's 2,600 at 876. So I would be worried about coming in at a point that I wasn't very happy with. So something like this I would definitely limit sell. Now the last stock I did, ACB, there's like 10 to 20,000 units for sale at pretty much every penny. So I'm a little more comfortable with a stock like that if I wanted to buy it at market, but certainly not this one. And we pulled up from that 872 low, so I'm not sure. Just have to sort of sit on this one for a bit and see. So if the stock moves up another penny or two, I'm just going to cancel my order because now this downswing is essentially being balanced by an upswing, and I'd have to relook at the numbers. I may not like it anymore if it goes up another couple cents. Because this essentially is the upswing that we were trying to get in from 871, where we were trying to get in, and now it's at 877, 878. So this maybe a no tradesies. Yeah, this looks like a no tradesies. I don't like it anymore. So I'm just going to cancel my order. Sometimes you see something that you think has or you see a pattern, you see something that looks good, and then it doesn't work out exactly how you want it to, but you don't want to get stubborn and sort of force it. I think this was a good example right here. So I tried to get in right here, 871. It touched it for a minute. I didn't fill though. Now you can see we got 10 minutes of upswing. We're now at 877. So if it dips down to 871, I'm no longer comfortable believing that that may be the bottom. You know, it could now test the end of day, or the low of day, sorry, 867, or even break through that. So just cancel the order and we'll move on. So this is interesting. Once again, I made sort of a error in understanding the software. I thought I had filled only what 2,600 units, but I'd actually filled 7,400 units, and there was 2,600 units left that didn't fill. So I still have 4,800 units. It's actually good that I refreshed this one page because I would have no idea. So I still have 4,800 units of ACB. So I need to figure out a selling point for this. So I'm just going to keep my eye on ACB the rest of the day. See what's up. So I'm going to put it in at 828, even though we're sitting at 823 right now. 828 is like here. And then I can always switch it to sell at market if we get close to the end of the day and nothing's happening. $4,800 shares. Yep. It's a big buy at 820 of 124,000 shares, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's a little bit of protection from going too much below 820. But we'll see. We'll see if we bump into the 820. It's the last half hour of the market, so I'm expecting some volume increase before too long as well. It's a big sell at 825 as well. That just cropped up 80,000 shares, which isn't good for upward movement. So I'm just looking at the level 2 data primarily here, just watching the numbers between 821 and 822. It's bumped into 820 once just for a moment right now, but obviously if the 820, which is a big number, 137,000 shares, if that doesn't hold, then I just want to be able to market out of here for a couple cent loss. Because I really don't have much of a strategy at this point, not even realizing that I own these shares until a few moments ago. Up the last 2 5-minute candles at least. This can happen a lot when there's big numbers on the buy and the sell that are relatively close. Like there's 135,000 units that want to get purchased at 820, and then there's 95,000 units for sale at 825. But now we're finally moving up. That's good. It was pretty stagnant there for like watching paint dry. So that 825 mark is down to 38,000 shares. So if it can break through that, we might be able to still get away with our limit sell at 828. That would be cool. This is essentially the yo-yo between 820 and 825. There's still almost 50,000 shares at 825, and there still remains 134,000 at 820. So there needs to be a big buyer or a big seller to really get outside of that range. And you can see if you eyeball 820 to 825, it's been in that range primarily for an hour. I mean, it hit 826 once, but okay, this is looking a little bit yucky. There's now 40,000 at 824 and 45 at 825. So there's now multiple pennies that have some resistance. I might run away right here. I still finger on the trigger. Maybe we can get one more penny out of this back to 823, but we'll see if there's movement in the next few minutes. We're down to 14 minutes left in the market, so I don't want to get too tight to the end. Okay, I'm out at 823. There's just too many chunky numbers. There's over 50,000 at 824. There's 47,000 at 825. Like 8 minutes left in the market. It may have got up there, but I'm not overly confident that it would have. So I guess that's the end of that. So we'll just go ACB again in 821, and then that was 4,800 shares. I'll verify that. Yeah, so it was 26 and 48 were the two numbers. That's 4,800, and that was 823. So that was sort of weird the way that we traded that in pieces. Obviously, I wasn't aware that we had purchased almost 10,000 shares. I thought we'd only got in for 2,600, but I read it backwards. So we weren't able to get out as ideally. But I mean, 200 bucks, a quick afternoon trade. Isn't that bad? Let's make this like some fun color. Just a gray. All right, well, there you have it. That's my day. Just for fun, I'm going to watch ACB to see what its final results were for the day. If I could have possibly held on and finished my 828 limit sell, that would be interesting, but I chose to get out. I didn't really like the dynamic, and made a few $100, so thanks. So I'm just watching ACB at the very end of the market. It's 45 seconds from close. It did move up 1 penny from 823 where we got out. But again, it really had some pressure to stay between 820 and 825 for that whole time. So we'll see. I mean, again, I don't like making a trade in the last 20 seconds of the market, so this would have been potentially 1 extra penny with 15 seconds to go. 824. Just crested 825. So we would still have needed to go up 3 more cents from here in order to close our limit. And 824. So market's closed. Finished at 824, 825. It says 826, but really there's a 1 cent gap there. There's purchases at 824. So maybe we left a penny on the table, but overall, can't complain. Bit of a winning day.
Yes, indeed.